Okay, good morning, everyone. Good late morning, everyone. This is Michael Venezia, head trader at TradeView Markets. Okay, this is it's a couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know how many trading days left in the year. I'll get actually back to Helene would know that stat. I'm sure she would. We'll sign in for a second. Okay, it's Friday. It's a witching day. We started off Monday as I signed into TradeGATEHub. It hasn't been smooth sailing. It's almost like you want to take hit and misses and make moves and out. You had a big CPI number on, let me get this right, on Tuesday. Then you had Powell speaking on Wednesday. Yesterday was a poor day, yeah, and today's Friday, which is a witching day. As coach always says, and it's a cliche, and it's one of those things like don't run with scissors. It's not a guarantee, but markets don't usually bottom on a Friday, and it doesn't look any different. Maybe today is at least where we're looking now, and if it does, at least I'm not playing it that way. I'm being tactical, as I said the whole week. Let me sign in just like everybody else. Okay, we're gonna listen. This is going to be a charting and stock day. This being Friday, for anybody not familiar, and Joe, but by the way, welcome back on land. Poor internet, but didn't that stop him from checking in. We appreciate that, man. Class act. All right, so go back here and check throughout the. Coach and I do a couple of videos a day. He at 9:30, me at 11. So go back on Monday. You'll get familiar with the process, and you'll know why I'm taking any or going over charts or any more questions and usually going through the routine. You should know where we stand here. Part of me as a Friday afternoon. Okay, let me get out of here. TradeGATEHub. I'll go through a couple of things, and I'll take some charts on what I did tactically. Okay, where's my good morning? All right. Max or halt, by the way, I follow option situation. There was some max or prints going off as little as a couple of weeks ago. You can't get them all, but it just tells you, and that was what 16 hours ago. I didn't even how did I catch you guys bet 200 grand, 200 grand. You wipe out the ask January 23rd, February 17th, February 23rd. So we did it discreetly. So Maxer got taken out. I didn't get, I can't catch everything. You know what I mean? Especially in a down market, trying to hope for a takeover. But congratulations, at least we're in the right church, but maybe the wrong pew. Coach, I know you like that one. All right. Where am I? My sign on. All right. Kramer said it, pretty well this morning. Roadblocks. Probably didn't have it. All right. Dire is the word that keeps coming about everything. And listen, I get it. This time it might even be different. I'm not sure. If it was like in the middle of the year, we're just running out of room, running out of road. The VIX is making a pop. If I don't know if the VIX would necessarily be popping a little bit if it was like the middle of the year. Obviously, people, this year also being a witching day of rebalancing, buying protection, whether it be, going out next week or December 31st or going out to, February. I get it. You know what I mean? And I don't blame anybody. But Kramer said it correctly. And this is the sentiment. It's not that everybody it's not that everybody's all under position or all short anymore. You know what I mean? Which is a bearish signal. But he said it. I'm not salivating to buy anything right here. Everybody knows what I'm in. He says every situation is dire. Beijing, the bond market, earnings, the deficit, the dollar goes with the bond market, all dire. Reminds me of all the other times the last 40 years that they were dire and ended up making money. I understand that, Jim, but right now I'm down $1 on VFC. It's not that, I get it. It doesn't really do much for that with my greatest acumen, which is basically really short-term trading to swing trading. That's why we have coach, or I say I leave that to professionals to look at the bigger picture. But you know what? I've been in the business for 26, 20, going on 27 years now. I get it. And could probably hold a debate with the best of them. But, like I said, I leave that to the pros, and I have pros to go to. So that's the macro view. You know what I mean? Platform could rally. Meta could rally 30%, JP Morgan says. Good question, Lewis. I'll get to that in a second. And it's a question he should be asking. It's about tax selling. Thanks, Lewis. I'll finish in a second. And that comes into my plan. I talked about it throughout the week, and you had to kind of catch it. And I know you listen every day, Lewis, so I'm not going to say watch the video because you deserve a concrete answer. But I did speak about par again. Well, I've been up a long time. I apologize. Lewis gets mad at me. All right. And also, Maxer hold Meta, Win Resorts, economic data, upgrades, downgrades. Helene, go back. By the way, I want everybody to post this, and this is for you, Gerard, about all these put up. You can even post, look at the put call ratios throughout the day. For example, here's the put call ratio today. And they post these intraday more, even you go to most active stocks, the VIX, most active calls. We bring it to here. These are most active calls, for example, by the CBOE. They're not really looking for wise guys behavior, but I do. But like I said here, and I digress back to the last thing I posted, is that, pardon me, it was VIX calls exploding. And that was what, 12 minutes ago. And they still are. They should be. I'm even adding to them. But there's plenty of green on the screen. Don't get me wrong. There's not, you know what I mean? But I'll get back to that in a second. Once again, I'm going off on tangents. And this was supposed to be charting Friday. All right, but I have to go through something. Nenvax, Gerard, you saved me money. I sold that at 21. What a sale, too. He said that was whatever. What'd you say? It was the what of Europe, like the GameStop or the Bed Bath and Beyond. And I sold it. Man, he saved me a lot of money. Good job, Gerard. Thank you. And you know what? Price action trumped sentiment there. All right, credit default swap's not really an issue. Goldman Sachs. I don't know. This is for those of you that really follow this, Coach. I know if you're listening, you definitely do. As the market was collapsing, everybody was extreme. No, it was the market. It just didn't make sense when now the market looks worse than it looks like it's worse than it's been even technically. Well, arguably technically, now that they're getting bullish now. That's not what he wanted to see when everything was dire and the VIX was at 28. It was they were extremely bearish for the time to be buying. So they're kind of flipping the other way, which is nerve-wracking to say the least. It's something we have to follow. Positioning in the minis, a little bit underwater. Crude, the crude is bouncing nicely. I mean, CTAs are underweight crude for the most they've had in a couple of times. I'm yet to know if stocks are going to lead the commodity here, which tell you to go on some stocks. But certainly, what flipped last year, Coach and I talked this a trillion times. Crude oil was down 1%, finished down 1% or wherever it was, and then the stocks were up 63%. Now the stocks are correcting, and they are correcting. And crude could be going the other way. As Coach said, he bought that the other day and sold it on the 3-day rule, which was a nice sale as the futures are breaking lower. Typical. The VIX not going higher. Keep that in mind. Okay. Are you on the same screen? Because I want to finish up and take shots. Goldman, you go through your own things. All right. Do some trades. There's my screen. What did I do today? Let me go through my screen. Now shot. That's okay. The what? All right, here's the screen right here. All right, Roblox stock we posted breaking yearly lows. I should get the. Hold on a second. I'll take one for the team, as they say. Oh, look at that. All right, Roblox. There was the daily. Let me blow it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Everybody was comfortable through it. 33. Once it made the surprise, 33 to 39. When people thought they had a cushion, maybe riding it throughout the year. All of a sudden, it breaks a year close. The margins calls hit. And this was today's open right here. They did the dippity-do. It did open down, and they did the rip and then the dip. They tried to get the shorts out, and now it's breaking a yearly low right here again on the lows. Roblox, to no surprise. Which stocks did I trade well? RNA. Good short on RNA. I took some money off the table. RNA, it couldn't make a new high. Listen, it's a great. I'm going to be buying it on a dip, don't get me wrong. But the RSI was overbought. I started short. Listen, everybody knows I've been trading it. So I started laying it out short. 1972, year I was born. Added 1954, then freaking said enough is enough. 1942. 1942 started covering at 1790, buying it at 1790, buying it back at 1798, which is the gap. I'm not surprised it's 1768. I probably would have held it more. I wanted to take a little profit. I don't know if it's a professional, if I should have, because I really should have just coddled the winner and vote. But I was going against the the trend, and it was a quick trade. You know what I mean? The old differently. This is another example, and I knew it was going to do this. At least test this other. If it was going to go to the gap at 1799, I believed it was going to go to 1764. I believe I had bids at 1772. That's where I would have gotten hit. Long term, it's an animal. I don't know if it's really not a short term. It's actually kind of a good story. If you want to know the story or are not familiar with the story, this is what you should do. It's as easy as this. Go to Google, go to RNA. Everybody that follows my Twitter feed should know that everybody gives high opinions on it right here, an hour, good. So whatever, that's how you follow it. Something was going here. As I came by, something flashed by. HRB bearish, Amazon bearish. Amazon bearish. Look at Amazon. We haven't touched it. And we're not going to touch it. Amazon bearish. Look at Amazon bearish. Man, my God. You know what I mean? What's the catalyst going to be here? Except, except it basically becoming a value stock, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? The ultimate kiss of death when you're trying to find the bottom on a daily and you can't, you go to a weekly. You know what I mean? Here it is. You know what I mean? It's between the 87 and 85. You know what I mean? There's the volume last time between 83. If you want to try to catch it, I don't know why you would. Or listen, if you, it's, I don't know if it's over. It's yet to be determined. I don't know. It's just not something for me. Amazon, Tesla. Again, this is the line in the sand. I wanted to say that if you wanted to try to buy it for an intraday basis, yesterday's I guess flush with the volume was where I would consider it for a turn, because it was positive this morning. You know what I mean? And even if you want to go, even if you want to flip the other side, you can go to yesterday's high on the print, and that was the high of today, 160. So even when it broke yesterday's low, which was 153, you had $2 left on the table. Yes, you had to kind of watch it because it's prone to to snap or prone to news right here. Somebody could take a stake. Elon could sell more. Who knows? But it's getting, it's getting sensitive with, with the short side at this point, especially with that capitulatory volume coming in. Is he still selling? I'm not sure. But if you want to do something on an intraday basis, it was positive. This, like I said, was the line you want to do at 153.20 if you want to try it. I'm not. I got other things on my plate. Futures just bounced. Typical. Netflix, by the way, negative to positive. Meta's acting well. Stocks we did today. RNA, what is that? Is that right? That was the price at where I wanted to cover it around here. Okay, Nougat. Now Nougat. Everybody knows how I feel about gold. Now Nougat, I thought would probably go down to that important 50-day, and I wanted to get it out. It was a 3-day down to a degree, 37 to 32. I was watching it. It hasn't been acting the way I wanted to. And just like I said yesterday, even with the Netflix position, the longer term account, I had to do some finagling like I did with Netflix. So I had no problem with the trade short term because I like the volume it's doing and blah, blah, blah. But I had to rethink it long term. So Nougat, where was I? I was a buyer. Nougat all day long, 32, blue. Nougat, blue, 32.70. So I'm averaging down actually. So I'm buying it at 32.50, 32.70. I'm selling it at 33.60. It's actually $1. It looks better than it was. So I wanted out of Nougat, which I think I have out of. And I took a little bit of a loss. The one I did like was JUNG, which did have that 50-day support I was looking on for Nougat. So JUNG, same thing. I was buying it. But first of all, the low on the day was 33. So it bounced from 33, 33, 44 to 34.74 is $1.40 on decent shares. So I looked for confirmation. I bought it at 34, bought more, sold it at 34.60, bought more at 34.16, read as sell 34.60. So I'm making 50 cents here and there, which, it takes out, it's $1 out, I took $1 out of it. Now my final buy the last time I traded was 34.14. Now it's 34.48. Now listen, I know it's not a barn burner with Netflix or Tesla or RNA, but I'm working in a position that I got myself into. It doesn't seem like a lot, but the stock yesterday was 37, and today's low was 33.50. Buying and selling to 34.5 probably makes my price to 35.5. So I took a little bit of loss next, but then I traded the other one. I traded the other ones, I believe. Well, what else did I trade today? I'll go back to the charts. GH, I bought that last night. I punted. What did I buy? Crocs, Carvana, Jack's not in it. Gilead positive, Billy positive, Affirm. Oh, pins. I'm in pins. I talked about pins. Pins, I wanted to get out of it, much like everything else. And I did have until at least yesterday, I had the 200-day moving average support. Then I had the 50-day support. Then I had the gap. So listen, it kind of worked out to be like a mosquito bite. It is as I speak, but I had a lot of technical support. I had the fact that, by the way, when I did see that it opened this morning, it did open it. Matter of fact, I could have gotten it at 25.39. And it actually was positive at one point. It was showing nice relative strength compared to the market. And I knew they'd sell it off because somebody else me would be like, all right, I'll take the loss. I'll move on to trade something more actively with the VIX getting a little elevated. But the low of the day was 24.60. I bought it twice today. Once at you see at 24.80, again at 24.75. So I'm up on my buys for the day. My average price, I believe, is like 25.62. You know what I mean? It's just something I don't want to be watching over the weekend. And it's something when volume dries down, I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just going to have to watch it. That's all. It's not like I can have a stop loss and let a stop loss and let the winner ride. So pins is another one I'm in, as you know. Bob in no position, BE, EMPH, Gilead positive. What else did I do? Citibank going down, BV, another RNA going back, WVE, watch for that to go positive. That's hot. CPRX. Now now CPRX. I go from the penthouse to the poorhouse. 1835 to 16. I still like it. I like the story, but I'm gonna have to watch it. It has these moves that are prone. It's pulling back on no volume, but you know what? I got to babysit it now. You know what I mean? Maybe it's my fault. We are getting bigger snappers now. Tesla 140 cometh. See that it's getting so bearish on this Tesla, and I'm really looking for it. Just Tesla. Hold on a second now. The selling of it's well, you know what? It's a witching day. It's a heavy option day. Here it is at 150. What I really wanted to do was do the flush between like 148 and 151 and get all the volume out, including the options, which will be skewed because you'll see them coming in later at the close. But it's one to watch. Even if you don't trade it, it's one to watch as an option expiration trade or a lesson. It's one to watch, obviously, because it's a parameter or a barometer of the market, if you will, just like the UUP and everything else. Apple. Coach's chart on Apple. What's it going to, just like I said, what's it going to take for Citicorp to go up? All right, so Citicorp did work, but it bounced. Apple, what's it going to take? You know what I mean? Microsoft, a little bit better. The Google, heavy options going off here. But that's you have the little bit of the cushion. That's one story away after a 3-day down with volume and is near the low. Ooh, that's nasty. After how I feel about 3 days, at least should have turned around a little bit. You know what? It's at 90, just like Tesla's at the 150. So, let them flush it out. Today's not that day. Look at my screen here. We're giving you movers. RNA's moving, Bivvy's moving, ACLX is a hot stock. We're giving you Newmont. We're giving you what else is moving here? Pins, Netflix positive. You want to see if Meta holds up. You know what I mean? The VIX should be probably up more than it is. Spies, 4 days down. What's it going to, here's the gap. Okay, so here it is, the gap. Here is a gap right here again. There's the line, 380.88. You know what I mean? You're going to be here and try to take a stab here. You're not going to miss much. You know what I mean? There's the RSI. Hold on. The one thing I don't add, delete. Add line study. Now I got to go horizontal. You know what I mean? There's horizontal. I got to go add line study. We got to go vertical. Diagonal. You know what I mean? This is what the only thing I don't like about here is trend line. All right. Here it is on the RSI. So as coach would say, There's the RSI on SPYs. There's, the SPYs is not even something I would look at, considering it's like a mutt now. It's so concentrated with Apple and oils. It's not even the place. It's like the Dow. It's not even a place to look at. It's almost like it's like it's archaic. There could be a doji on the IWM, Qs. No interest yet. It is holding the gap. I'm not sure today. The only thing that would provide a snapper is the options expiration, and everybody, so heavy in inputs. It's the only thing that would provide a brief snapper. So do I have any other chart? Hold on, new share. Let me go back here. Any questions or anything? Lewis, wish me surprise. Any looks good. Joby, he's been out to sea. He likes the any. All right, we'll write it down. Mike, do you think tax play selling or no much impact on stocks? Listen, I'll answer this one, Coach Lewis. I like, for example, what's down? Like, if you're not out of VFC by now, well, if you're not out of this by now, I mean, maybe it does exacerbate the move. It depends on the stock. You know what I mean? I think the more liquid the stock, the less it's going to impact. The less it's going to impact tax selling. If you have one of these thin stocks and you just get fed up, and you might not have a lot of it, but a thinner stock, it doesn't take a lot for them to move, and you just say, get me out of it and let me take the loss out of some of these dogs, like a Carvana, not even a Carvana, or like a BLI, for example, that a year ago, or was 18 and now it's 2. They just say, get me out of the thing. That's what will impact. Do I think it'll have a more of an impact on Amazon? You know what I mean? I think the funds that are, you know what I mean? It might take it. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to want it off the books, Louis. This is tricky things. These are things we haven't seen. The best thing I'm going to do is I've learned more than I ever have in this type of bear market. So if it happens again, which probably will, if it happens once, it's usually prone to happen again. I'm just going to take note and play it. Like I said, I'm just being more tactical. Is tax selling going to exacerbate thing? It would look like it would. I don't know if it does escalate and cascade for tax selling. That's great. We'll be ready for it. But I don't know. I don't know if I can make that call yet. You know what I mean? I don't know. I get the question. It's an advanced question, and it's multi-layered, if you will, including what's going to happen today until expirations. Right up until the end, the closing bell. Still no signs of any attempt at some stock picking. A&F retailers seeing some January flow. M seeing some call spreads. So why doesn't everybody pick up this VFC? Insiders are buying left and right. Fact. Oh, VFC. So I don't know why. Put sweepers aggressive in mega cap and NASDAQ. So you know what, guys, listen. Coach says it 1,000 times, 11:32 on a Friday. You know what I mean? Just the moves, a lot of the moves have been made, except if you want to get in play, try to get funky with an option move at 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, which, by the way, doesn't work. If those are the very advanced, I'm not even going to play it. I'm going to be watching more than I'm going to be playing. So that's where I'll leave it. Avago, S&P, Humana, ARC. What is ARC doing? ARC, they're buying Tesla. Why not? And they listen. This is what happened. They sold EXAS yesterday, and it's up to look at EXS today. I'm not one for being egregious and saying, like do the opposite like that. But EXAS yesterday was 44, it opened today 54. You know what I mean? CMPS, Compass Pathways. I'll give an example of. Hold on. I'll give you an example of tax selling, Lewis. This is like she was buying this CMPS. This is one that's going to take tax selling. This is one that I had my eye on, just like an Asan or a Path. It was a former high flyer, a good IPO, a sexy story at 52. Now it's at 9. She's buying a position. This is like one would be tax selling because of the range. I wouldn't be surprised if it went down like, another $1 from here. And everybody says, all right, it's not moving from where it should. Get me out. It makes a spike down, but I'm not even sure if I'd be an investor there. So those type of moves I would expect to see affected by tax selling. So any other questions? All good, Jobo. Welcome back. VIX calls expiring. What is this chart of? Newmont. All right. What are you going to do? Last thing I'll do is, I did already look at the wise guys. I'll look at this. All you should be worried about today, though, aside from the macro story being obviously Coinbase, how it's affecting that SI and Silvergate, UUP, TLT, Meta got upgraded, see if that holds. Tesla, see what that's doing, crudeness, actually. And we'll look at this. ZM, Zim repeat put sweeper. This, all that matters is right here. At this point in the week. Up on high relative volume, right here. DRMA, all penny stocks. Exact Scientists, we gave it to you. EDU still going. I brought it up this morning. GoTo, Lewis brought up. So these are all low floaters. Meta, besides X had news. Cal Chinese, Adobe had news, but down on high relative volume. I bet it's 3 times as much. PLD, Avago, AUPH, SE, Verb, NVAX, 10. Avaya, you want to talk about another one? I will leave it off at this. I know that saying gets stale. Avaya, it's never too late to sell, and I had it for a sexy trade. I'm not getting it. AVYA. It's never too late to sell. The beginning of the year, 20 cents. Even in June, $6. Never too late to sell. All right. There's the perfect example of Avaya. 1 year ago, 22. And I know the story. Now it's 0.2. Have a good weekend. Trade tactically. Have a plan if you do anything. This is where fundamentals are more important than anything. Don't let your trades turn into positions. If you do start with lighter volume, and just recognize in this type of situation, if the stock's going to work, it's going to probably start working right away if you have it. So add to winners, sell your losers.